Today we are diving deep into a highly unique ETF with an extremely focused strategy. It is called the Defiance Leveraged Long Income MSTR ETF, or simply MST. It is part of the Tidal Trust 2 structure and is one of the most aggressive income strategies available to regular investors. The goal is to offer leveraged exposure to a single stock while generating weekly income. Yes, weekly. But how does this actually work? Let us start by understanding the foundation. MST is designed to track the price of MicroStrategy Stock. MicroStrategy is a company heavily invested in Bitcoin. In fact, a massive part of its valuation is tied to how Bitcoin performs. So when you invest in MST, you are essentially getting leveraged exposure to Bitcoin through MicroStrategy. But there is more. MST does not just track MicroStrategy, it amplifies its exposure by using leverage. That means you are not getting a one-to-one movement. If MicroStrategy moves up, your returns are amplified. But if it moves down, your losses are also amplified. This is high risk. And then comes the income strategy. To generate income, MST uses an option overlay. It sells out of the money call options on MicroStrategy stock. This is known as a covered call strategy, except in this case, the coverage is synthetic because MST does not actually hold MicroStrategy shares directly. Instead, it creates synthetic exposure through derivatives. The calls it sells generate premium income every week. So each week, MST collects money from selling call options. That money is paid out to investors in the form of weekly dividends. If MicroStrategy goes sideways or down, the calls expire worthless and MST keeps the income. If MicroStrategy goes up a lot, MST caps its upside because the call options get exercised. That means you are giving up big upside gains in exchange for weekly income. Now let us talk about income. MST aims to pay a high yield on a weekly basis. Because it is tied to MicroStrategy, the amount can change. If volatility is high and option premiums are rich, you might get more income. If volatility drops, the income might shrink. Also remember that since the fund uses leverage, the risk is higher. If MicroStrategy drops a lot, your investment can lose value quickly. Now let us go deeper and rate this ETF across multiple categories using my meter rating system, Income Potential. This ETF has very high income potential because it pays every week and uses options to generate premium. The downside is that the income can vary and is not guaranteed. My meter rating for income is 8 out of 10 growth potential. The ETF gives up a lot of upside growth due to the covered call overlay. However, the leverage gives it some amplified performance. Overall, it is not ideal for long-term growth. My meter rating for growth is 5 out of 10. Risk level. This is a high-risk ETF. It uses leverage. It is tied to a volatile stock. It relies on options income. If any of these break down, your capital is at risk. My meter rating for risk is 3 out of 10, which means it is aggressive sustainability. The fund can maintain its strategy as long as options markets remain liquid. However, long-term sustainability depends on how MicroStrategy performs. If Bitcoin crashes, this fund could suffer major losses. My meter rating for sustainability is 5 out of 10. Tax efficiency. Option income is usually taxed as ordinary income. That means it is not the most tax-friendly fund. The weekly payouts might lead to higher tax paperwork. My meter rating for tax efficiency is 4 out of 10. Ease of understanding. This ETF is not easy for beginners. It mixes synthetic positions, covered calls, leverage, and a single stock focus. It takes time to fully grasp. My meter rating for clarity is 4 out of 10. Now let us put all of that together. Final total meter rating. My meter rating for the Defiance Leveraged Long Income MSTR ETF is 5.5 out of 10. It is not for everyone. But if you understand the risks and want exposure to MicroStrategy with a side of income, it could be an option. Just make sure you are comfortable with extreme volatility and amplified losses. If you have any videos you would like me to cover, say it in the comments below and I will break it down in plain English.